Students, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Is
Good
it
morning,
clear
sir.
my voice? నా వాయిస్ క్లియర్ ఉందా మీకు?
Okay, sir.
Sir, clear on this, sir.
ఓకే రైట్. Okay, so in the last session, yesterday's session, we completed the seminar presentation up to B Santosh. Okay, so up to the roll number 20. Okay, so today we'll start with Durgam Ravali, right? Roll number 21. Durgam Ravali, are you in the meeting? No, Ravali not in the meeting. Okay, we'll go with the next one. 22, Podila Ramalakshman. Ramalakshman, are you there? No, Ramalakshman also not joined. Next, roll number 23, Namelikonda Akila. Akila, are you there?
Hi, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay, today we'll start with Akila. If anyone who joins in middle and those who are absent in the last session, they may be present after completion of the roll number 36. Okay, so today we'll go with the according to the roll numbers from 21 to 36. After completion of the last candidate, 36, roll number 36, then we'll continue from the missed candidates in the yesterday's class, right? Okay, so Akila,
Yes, sir.
yeah, you can start your presentation.
Okay, sir. Shall I start, sir?
Yeah,
Okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning, friends. My
open
topic
up your
is
video.
about
Open
Shatavahanas
up your
administration.
video. Akila, open
Yes,
up
sir.
your video.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, right. Now you can.
Good morning to everyone. And my topic is, myself Akila, and my topic is about Shatavahanas administration. And before that, I will give some introduction to Shatavahanas. The founder of this administration was Srimuka, and the capital cities of this dynasty, Pratisthana and Amaravati, and their common languages are Prakrit and Sanskrit and Dravidian, and their religion, Hinduism and Buddhism. The origin of these dynasty was uncertain because there are different opinions among the scholars regarding the origin of this dynasty and their ruling period and the total number of these dynasty rulers. Uh, but according to the Puranas, they were Andhras and they were Andhras and they were 30 rulers and they ruled more than 2 centuries. And the famous ruler of this dynasty was Gautam Putra Shatakarni. and he was 23rd ruler of this dynasty, and he ruled for 24 years. And according to the Nasik inscription, it gives the information about Gautamputra Shatakarni achievements and his victories. And his titles are Ekabrahmana and also Sri Samudratoya Pitavahana and Agamanilaya and Kshetriya Darpamana Mardana. And administration system of Shatavahanas. Administration of Shatavahanas. King acquired the king occupied an important place in administration, and he was head of the government. He was not only head of his government, but also entire the military and judicial affairs also. And young prince are Yuvaraja, and he was given the training before his accession. And king was considered as a god on the earth. And Amatya and Sarvasenadipati assisted the king in administration system. According to the Govardhana inscription, and it gives the information about the Shatavahana Empire was divided into the number of provinces and aharas, and Mahamantras was in charge of these aharas. And also it gives the information about Nagaras was also known as the Nigama, and civil bodies also known as the Nigama Sabhas. And next, and in administration system, king was assisted by the Amatyas and Mahamantras, and also Mahabhojakas and Maharathas and Mahasenadipati, etc. And next, village administration. And village administration was the basic administration system of this dynasty. And Gramika was the head of this village, and he was in charge of law and order, and also he collected the revenue from the villagers for the purpose of administration. And the position was a hereditary system. And next, military organization of this dynasty. And Shatavahanas also maintained the strong and huge army. And king was chief of the army. And Mahasenapati was the in charge of recruitment, and he was in charge of recruitment and training and payments related to the soldiers. And during this period, military camp was also known as the Kalkam. And next, the judicial system
Akila,
of
please
these.
conclude.
Okay, sir. And judicial system of these dynasty, and they followed the judicial system like Mauryans only. And king was a judge. And next, economic conditions of these dynasty was land revenue was the main source of income to the government, and they collected land revenue from the people, and other taxes also like Rajabhoga and Devamaya. And next, society. Society was divided into 4 castes, and
Society.
joint family system was.
How can you give the things about society?
Sir?
Your title was only about administration of Shatavahanas, no?
Yes, sir.
What is the need of giving society again?
Sir?
Okay, just conclude it. Conclude it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
And
right.
there are.
Okay. Just stand up and can you give me the things, the text which you referred?
Sir?
ఇది రాయటానికి మీరు ఏ పుస్తకాలు రిఫర్ చేశారు?
Sir, Ajay Mitra Shastri, The Age of Shatavahana book, sir, and academic book, sir.
అజయ్ మిత్రా, ఒకసారి టైటిల్ చెప్పండి.
Age of Shatavahana, sir.
ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ శాతవాహన. ఆథర్ నేమ్?
Ajay Mitra Shastri, sir.
అజయ్ మిత్రా. పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు?
And academic books also, sir.
ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ శాతవాహన పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు?
Sir,
హూ పబ్లిష్డ్ ద బుక్? ఎవరు పబ్లిష్ చేశారు ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ శాతవాహన బుక్ని?
Ajay Mitra Shastri books are Age of Shatavahana. And
పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరమ్మా? పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు? బుక్ పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు?
don't know, sir.
హౌ యూ రిఫర్డ్? మీరు వీడియో ఓపెన్ చేయండి.
Sir, most of the information I
చెప్పండి.
collected from academic books only, sir.
Who wrote the academic books? Who are the authors? Authors ఎవరు? మీరు చూసి చెప్పదు. ఓపెన్ అప్ వీడియో.
Degree academic books, sir.
అవునమ్మా, ఎవరు రాశారు? డిగ్రీ అకాడమిక్ బుక్ ఎవరు రాశారు? ఆథర్స్ ఎవరు?
Sir, చూడలేదు.
చూడకపోతే ఎట్లా? మీకు ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఇవ్వలేదా నేను పేపర్ ఎట్లా తయారు చేయాలని? క్లాసులకు అటెండ్ గారు, మెసేజ్లు పెడితే చూడరు అంటే సరదాగా ఉన్నదా ఏమన్నా? ఓకే, రైట్. Next, Nagilla Navina. Navina, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Start your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. This is Navina. My roll number is 24. My topic is Kakatiya Dynasty. The Kakatiya Dynasty, the founder of Kakatiya Dynasty, Kakatiya Gunadhya. The Kakatiya Dynasty, first Kakatiya Gunadhya, the greatest ruler of the Kakatiya Dynasty, Ganapati Deva. The woman ruler is Rudrama Devi, and the last ruler of Prataparudra II. The Rudrama Devi period, the Marco Polo is invented. I was choose Kakatiya administration. The Kakatiya administration divided into different units of central government. They established provincial, district and village units. The council of ministers also there, Pradhani, Amatya, Mantri, Senadipati. The Kakatiyas are divided into administration between the 72 Niyagas is nothing but departments. It is introduced by Prataparudra II.
నవీనా, మీ టైటిల్ ఏంది? కాకతీయ డైనాసిటీ అన్నారు, అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ చెప్తున్నారు. కాకతీయ డైనాసిటీలో ఏం చెప్తున్నారు?
అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ గురించి సార్.
మరి చెప్పాలి కదా, అది కాకతీయ డైనాసిటీ అని అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ చెప్తే ఎట్లా?
చెప్పిన సార్.
ఓకే, చెప్పండి. కంటిన్యూ చేయండి.
The village administration is the lowest administration in the Kakatiya administration. The village administration in 12 Iyengars. These Iyengars are landlords. The village is mainly head of the Karma Reddy, Kammam Reddy, Tallari. The military organization, the Kakatiya rule maintain effective Ang army. In the Prataparudra II, the military organization have 100 elephants and 20,000 cavalry, 9 lakhs of infantry. These are the military organization. Judicial system of Kakatiya based on principles of the ancient medieval political thinkers and legal experts. And this based on Dharma Shastram. The village level, these judicial matters are deals with reddis, talaris, and judicials, police, and Kakatiya epigraphy about civil and criminal cases. The social conditions of the Kakatiya dynasty, the society was based on social conditions. It's divided into four types: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, Shudras. Shudras is a major economic conditions. Economic conditions of the Kakatiya dynasty. Agriculture was the main occupation to the Kakatiyas. The Ganapati Deva is a glorious military achievements over the coastal Andhra, amount of land and revenue tribute and land revenue, house taxes and exports, imports and grasslands. The trade and exports, imports, the book maintains by Motupalli Port. The Kakatiya dynasty main occupation is the agriculture to the people. The irrigation system of the Kakatiya dynasty. Firstly, Kakatiya dynasty, there is no water and dry lands and no air, rain. The Ganapati Deva to build the Gulsikattu Cheruvu. Internal external trade of the Kakatiya dynasty during the age of the Kakatiya, the both internal and external trades flourished. The rules of the extend all types of support and through the craftsman. The Palakuri Somanath is given the list of the 20 varieties of clothes and textiles of the Kakatiya period. According to Morkopolam, the waves and Ushlipatnam were producing the best qualities of textiles. The chief centers of the internal trade of the Orugallu, Hanmakonda, పాన్గల్లు, అల్లంపూర్, వేములవాడ, తిరుపకంఠం. Religious conditions of the Kakatiya. The Kakatiya were known as religions: Jainism and Buddhism, and Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Buddhism, Jainism. Jainism is enter into the Telangana region during the Vemlavada, Kolpaka, Hanmakonda. Shaivism received the Vemlavada. One temple is there, Raja Rajeshwara Swami. Literature. The
Conclude.
Kakatiya rules official and great partner letters under
Conclude
the
చేయండి. Conclude చేయండి.
The art and architecture of the Kakatiya dynasty. The art and architecture of the Kakatiya. The Kakatiya rulers to heritage of the Chalukyans and Rashtrakutas. The temples is Hanmakonda, built Rudradeva. The Kakatiya dynasty declining the after Prataparudra. The Kakatiya
Right.
capital city is Hanmakonda.
Right. Can you give me in one or two points the glory of Kakatiya dynasty?
Come again, sir, please.
Glory of Kakatiya dynasty.
Glory.
గొప్పతనం ఏంటి చెప్తావా? కాకతీయ డైనాసిటీ గొప్పతనం ఏముంది?
ఆర్ట్ అండ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ సార్.
అంతేనా? అంటే ఆర్ట్ అండ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్లో ఏముంది? ఎందుకని మనం తెలంగాణ ప్రాంతంలో ఈ కాకతీయ వంశ పాలనని ఒక గొప్ప పాలనగా చెప్పుకుంటాం? ఎందుకని చెప్పుకుంటాం? సరే, మీరు ఎక్కడి నుంచి రాశారు?
రిత్న రత్నావళి సార్.
ఏ బుక్ రిఫర్ చేశారు? ఏ బుక్ రిఫర్ చేసి రాశారు?
ఏంటి సార్?
రైటన్ అప్ ఏ బుక్ లో చూసి రాశారమ్మా?
రిత్న రత్నావళి సార్.
నృత్య రత్నావళి ఎక్కడ దొరికింది మీకు బుక్?
రాళ్ళపల్లి అనంత కృష్ణ శర్మ బుక్ నుంచి తీసుకున్నా సార్.
ఎక్కడ దొరికింది ఆ బుక్? ఎక్కడ తీసుకున్నారు?
అంటే మా ఫ్రెండ్ ఒక ఆమె పంపించింది సార్, ఆన్లైన్లో.
ఆన్లైన్లో పంపించిందా?
స్క్రీన్ షాట్స్ పెడితే రాసిన సార్.
స్క్రీన్ షాట్ పెడితే రాసుకోవడం ఏందమ్మా? బుక్ పేరు రాయటం కాదు, నువ్వు అంటే రిఫర్ చేసి ఉండాలి కదా బుక్.
అదే సార్, రిఫర్ చేసిన బుక్కే ఆమె కొన్ని పేపర్స్ పెట్టింది సార్, కాకతీయ డైనాస్టిక్ సంబంధించినవి పెడితే అందులో రిఫర్ చేసి రాసిన సార్.
అవునా? ఇంకేం రాశారు? ఇంకేం చూశారు?
ఇంకొకటి కాకతీయ డైనాస్టీ ద గోల్డెన్ ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ తెలుగు సివిలైజేషన్ టైటిల్ సార్ ఇది.
ఎవరు రాశారు అది?
బ్రిడ్ రాజారాం యాజ్నిక్ రాసిన సార్.
రాజారాం యాజ్నిక్. ఎవరు పబ్లిష్ చేశారు? పబ్లిషర్
శ్రీనివాస సార్.
ఏ శ్రీనివాస్?
ఏంటి సార్?
పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరమ్మా దానికి? బుక్ పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు?
శ్రీనివాస సార్. శ్రీనివాస 2013లో పబ్లిష్ చేసింది సార్.
ఏ శ్రీనివాస?
సి శ్రీనివాస అంటే సార్.
శ్రీనివాస పబ్లిషరా?
అవును సార్.
ఏ కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్ కోచింగ్ సెంటర్ ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్? అంటే మీకు ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ పెట్టినవి కూడా మీరు ఫాలో కావట్లేదా? అట్లీస్ట్ మెసేజ్ చూస్తున్నారా గ్రూపులలో?
ఏంటి సార్?
గ్రూపుల్లో పెట్టే మెసేజ్ చూస్తున్నారమ్మా?
చూస్తున్నాను.
గ్రూపుల్లో అన్ని పోస్ట్ మోడల్ ఎట్లా చేయాలి, ఎట్లా రిఫర్ చేయాలి, బుక్స్ అనే సెమినార్ పేపర్ ఎట్లా తయారు చేయాలని మళ్ళీ కోచింగ్ మెటీరియల్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ ప్రిపేర్ చేసి చదువుతున్నారు. మళ్ళీ బుక్లు ఏమో నృత్యరత్నం అవ్వాలి అని చెప్తున్నారు. అట్లీస్ట్ మీరు చూడండి, టీచర్లు ఏం చెప్తారో చూడండి. అర్థమైందా? క్లాసులు ఎట్లా అటెండర్ కాదు, కనీసం ఈ మార్కులు స్కోర్ చేసేయన్నా కొంచెం మంచిగా స్కోర్ చేస్తే మంచిగా ఉంటుంది మీకే. అర్థమైందా? ఓకే, రైట్. నెక్స్ట్ సురేఖ. Sureka. No. Next, Fayaz.
Okay, start again, sir.
Yeah, okay, right. Start again.
Good morning, one and all. This is Fayaz, roll number 26. I am studying postgraduate first year MA History in Sikandrabad. I am native of Gadwal. I am going to fish about the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus Valley civilization is our ancestral civilizations, started at about 2300 BC, developed in the Indus River Valley, just beneath the Himalayan mountains in modern Pakistan and northeast India. Example of most developed cities, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. The Indus Valley civilization located in the western region of South Asia. The civilization was spread over some 13 lakhs kilometers, making it the largest ancient civilization, the oldest living civilization in the world. The civilization is noted for its cities, bulls of bricks, roadside systems, and multi-storied houses. Food. Wheat was the principal article of food, but barley and palm date were also familiar. They also used mutton and pork and fish and eggs. Weapons of war. This include axes, spears, daggers, maces, and slings with comparatively fewer specimens of bows and arrows. The absence of swords is significant. Shields, helmets, or any other densities armors are conspicuous by their absence. The weapons of war, all offensive in character, are usually made of copper and bronze, though a freestone implements have also been found. Trade. The seals were most probably used in connection with trade. Indeed, there is abundant evidence that the people traded not only with other parts of India but also with many countries of Asia. It is certain that they secured tin, copper, and precious stones from beyond India. The conclusion, sir. The study of Indus Valley civilizations raises several interesting problems of a general nature. In the first place, offers a striking resemblance to the ancient civilizations in Sumer and Mesopotamia proper. The developed city life, use of the potter's wheel, kin, brand bricks, and vessels made of coppers and bronze, and above all, the pictorial writing are some of the common and distinct distinctive features of all the three civilizations of the prehistoric period. The next question, and one of greater practical importance, is the relationship of the Indus Valley culture and the Vedic civilization of the Indo-Aryans, which usually recorded at the source from which used to all the subsequent civilizations in India. On the face of it, there are striking difference between the two. The Vedic Aryan were largely rural, while the characteristic features of the Indus Valley civilization are the emanates of a developed city life. The former probably knew of iron and defensive developed armors which are totally absent in the later. The horse played an immense parts in the Vedic civilization, but its early extension is doubted in the Indus Valley. There were also important differences in respect of religious beliefs and practices. The Vedic Aryan worshipped the cow, while the Indus people reserved their veneration for bulls. Not only do the mother goddesses and Shiva, the chief deities of the Indus Valley, play but a mirror part in the early Veda, but the later, according to some inspector, def, definitely condemns phallic worship. The worship of images was familiar in the Indus Valley, but almost unknown to the Vedic Aryans. In view of this striking dissimulates the Indus Valley civilization is usually regarded as different from and anterior to the culture of the Vedic period. This also fits in well with the generally accepted chronological scheme. For as noted above, the Indus Valley civilization goes back to the 3rd millennium BC, while the date usually assigned to the Rig Veda does not go beyond the 2nd millennium BC. But some would place the Vedic civilization before that of the Indus Valley and shift the date of the Rig Veda to a period before 3000 BC. The question is not indeed from the difficulty, while the points the different would undoubtedly incline as the view that the Indus Valley civilization and Vedic civilization represents two different types of culture. The arguments for the priority of the one to the other are not conclusive. The reference to iron in the Rig Veda would have indeed been a very strong argument for relegating the Vedic civilization to a later period. But this is a best doubtful as regards the other points. The data are not established sufficiently well to warrant a definite conclusion. On the whole, however, the priority of the Indus Valley civilization as first to be more probable and
Okay,
at present.
Fayaz,
Okay.
finally conclude with how it declined.
సార్ తెలుగు
Oh.
సార్ ఇంగ్లీష్లో ఉంటాం.
అదే ఇండస్ వ్యాలీ సివిలైజేషన్ పతనం కావటానికి కారణాలు చెప్పి ముగించండి.
సార్ కంక్లూజన్ సార్ నేను చెప్పింది
ఇప్పుడు నేను అడుగుతున్నా కదా, మీరు చెప్పండి. మీరు మొత్తం ఇండస్ వ్యాలీ సివిలైజేషన్ గురించే చెప్పారు కదా
సార్. కన్క్లూజన్ అని చెప్పి మీకు చెప్పాను సార్.
నేను క్వశ్చన్ చేస్తున్నా కదా ఇప్పుడు మీరు, అంటే ఇండస్ వ్యాలీ సివిలైజేషన్ పతనం కావడానికి కారణాలు ఏంటి?
వరదలు సార్, ఇప్పుడు వరదలు అండ్ సమస్యలు వచ్చినాయి సార్, తుఫాను లాంటివి.
అవే ఏంటి చెప్
ఒకవేళ ఆర్యలు దండయాత్ర కూడా కావచ్చు సార్. సార్ వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తలేదు సార్ మీది.
ఇండస్ వ్యాలీ సివిలైజేషన్ అనేటటువంటిది ఒక గొప్ప నాగరికత, కొన్ని వందల సంవత్సరాలు వెలుసు గంగా మహేష్ గారు చెప్పాలి, అట్లీస్ట్ 1 or 2 కాజెస్ అన్న చెప్పాలి.
సార్ పురాతనమైనటువంటి ప్రపంచంలో నాగరికతలలో ఇది కూడా ఒకటి సార్, ఒక
ఓకే, నేను కాదనట్లేదు,
పెద్ద నాగరికతగా.
అవును, గొప్ప నాగరికత, ఎంతో ఖ్యాతి ఉంది దానికి, నేను కాదనట్లేదు. కానీ ఫైనల్గా అయితే నాగరికత అంతరించిపోయింది కదా.
అవును సార్.
సో దాని పునాదుల మీద కొత్త నాగరికతలు అయితే వెలుసులున్నాయి కదా, మొదలైనవి కదా.
అవును అవును సార్.
సో దానికి ఏమైనా కారణాలు ఉండాలి కదా. ఇప్పుడు పతనం కావడానికి రకరకాల కారణాలు చాలా మంది చరిత్రకారులు చెప్పారు.
అవును సార్. కారణాలు వచ్చేసి సార్, వరదలో కొట్టపోయిందని కొంతమంది, లేకపోతే ఆర్యుల యొక్క దండయాత్రనే కారణాలు కావచ్చని.
అది రైట్, ఓకే, రైట్. సో ఏమైనా బుక్స్ మీరు రిఫర్ చేశారా దీనికోసం రాయడానికి?
ఎస్ సార్. References, books and authors names sir: MC Mazumdar and HC Rai Chaudhary and Kalkinkar Datta and Habib and Marshall sir.
బుక్ పేరు చెప్పండి. ఇప్పుడు ఆర్సి మజుందార్ బుక్ ఏంటి, ఏం బుక్
సార్? An advanced history of India sir. And Indian history sir, ఇది Kalkinkar Datta. ఈ publishers is వాళ్ళు publishers sir.
Okay Fayaz.
Rajiv Berry for.
It's okay. Fayaz, thank you. And,
okay sir, thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to seminar presentation sir.
Okay, thank you. Next, Pujja Shekhar, are you there in the meeting? Shekhar. Husainappa. Husainappa, are you in the meeting? No. Next, Kumarikuntla Usha. He is also not in the meeting. Sharat Kumar Gaur. Sharat Kumar Gaur also not in the meeting. Gopi, Bommakanti Gopi.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Gopi, right.
Sir,
Start there.
my name is Gopi. My roll number is 31. My seminar topic is Kakatiya's Rudrama Devi. She was one of the very few women to rule as monarchs in India. The most prominent rulers of the Kakatiya dynasty, Rudrama Devi, ruled the kingdom for long period, roughly from 1262 1295 centuries. The way of the Kakatiya dynasty was spread over present-day Telangana region, with Orgal as its capital. Ganapati Deva had no sons to succeed him to the throne, and it is in the lack of male successor that he appointed his elder daughter Rudrama Devi as successor and heir to the Kakatiya throne. The father, the daughter, ruled jointly for several years till Ganpati Deva's death, when Rudrama Devi finally assumed the throne as an independent ruler in 1269 centuries. C. Rudrama Devi introduced some radical changes in the administrative structure as well. For example, her new policy of recruiting people from non-aristocratic families into the army as commanders was a significant development in those time, and we nearly objected to and taking this tradition forward. Rudrama Devi introduced the Nayankara system of military organization. Rudrama Devi was married to Chalukya Prince Virabhadra, a member of the Vengi Chalukyas. After Ganapati Deva's conquest of Vengi in 1240 CE, Virabhadra is not head of discharging any significant political administrative role. They had three daughters, Mumadamba, Ruyamba, and Rudraamba. This ruling for close to 4 decades. Rudrama Devi strongly held uh, her ground and is now recognized as a great warrior, ruler, and administrator of 13th century India. Venetian travel Marco Polo paid glorious tributes to her for excellent administration and rule, describing her as a lady of uh, discretion who always strove to achieve justice and equality. So conclusion. Starting that discovery has unraveled the mystery of her death The officials said Rudramadevi was killed during a war by her own subordinated chief Kayastha King Ammadeva. Ammadeva. Sir, okay, sir.
ఓకే రైట్. అంటే దీనికి సంబంధించి ఏ బుక్స్ రిఫర్ చేశారు మీరు?
Sir, Dr. Parabrahma Shastri PV, The Kakatiyas of Warangal.
ఓకే.
Next, Dr. Satyanarayana Sharma, Kakatiyas Charitram, Vijaya Bharati Publication. Dr. Nannapaneni Mangadevi, Rani Rudramadevi, PS Telugu University, Hyderabad.
ఓకే రైట్. ఓకే, సో థ్యాంక్ యూ గోపి.
Thank you, sir.
ఓకే, దశరథ్. Are you listening to my voice? Yeah,
Yes,
Dashrath.
sir.
దశరథ్ వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు మీరు.
Hello,
రైట్, ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఓకే.
my name is Dashrath. Today my topic is Gupta's Empire. I explain to Gupta's Empire. Introduction of the Gupta's Empire. The disappearance of the Mauryans from the political map of India saw the emergence of many indigenous and foreign rulers who literally divided the North and South India and ruled over them for nearly 5 centuries. Of these Kushans dominated the north areas, the Satavahanas, the Deccan and Andhra. And after the Mauryans, Guptas realized the political unification of North India and covered much of the Indian subcontinent. The Gupta age was considered to the second glorious epoch in the annals of ancient India. The age is marked by the startling developments. The Gupta period was acclaimed by historians for the period of classical age or golden age. The sources of Gupta empires. There are plenty sources material to reconstruct the history of the Gupta period. They include literary works, inscriptions, finds, and monuments. Literary sources, the Puranas, and contemporary literary works like Devi Chandraguptam, Mudra Rakshasa, written by Vishaka Datta, and Kalidasa works, Abhignana Shakuntalam, Meghadutam, Raghuvansham, and also etc. Sudrika Mritsakatika describe the unstable political conditions of Gupta period. The Chinese traveler Fayan, who visited India during the region of Chandragupta II, has left a valuable account of the social, economic, religious conditions of the Gupta Empire. Inscriptions of the Gupta Empire. Some inscriptions of the period were in the nature of Prashastis for describing the chronicle of events. The Prashasti of royal grants mention details a royal genealogy and political events. Allahabad stone pillar inscription of Samudragupta, Meroli iron pillar inscription of Chandragupta II and Junagadh rock inscription of Skandagupta fall under the category. The most important source of the region of Samudragupta is the Allahabad pillar inscription. It describes Samudragupta's accession, military campaign, relationship with other contemporary rulers and accomplishments as a poet and scholar. Um, Numismatic evidence: the Gupta kings issued a large number of gold and silver coins. Majority of Gupta coins contain legend and symbol. In designed execution and artistic composition, they closely resemble the Greek and Kushan coins. The Kumara Devi type coins of Chandragupta I are the earliest coins of the Guptas. The coins issued by Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, Kumaragupta, Skandagupta, and Buddhagupta were of inestimable value for reconstruction of the social, economic, political, religious, and artistic achievement of the Guptas. Origin of the Gupta Empire. There are no specific details about the origin of social background of the Guptas. It is probable that the Guptas belong to a family of wealthy land owners who gradually gained political control over the region of Magadha. It is mostly believed that the Guptas were of Vaishya origin. Political history of Gupta Empire. First one is Srigupta and Ghatotkacha. The genealogical account of the Guptas mention Maharaja Srigupta and Maharaja Ghatotkacha as the first two rulers of the line. It is not clear whether they were independent rulers or subordinates of some other kings. It is evident that the Guptas started their rule from a small province in Bengal, probably subordinate of the Kushans. He was succeeded by Ghatotkacha. Next, Chandragupta I. During his period 320 to 335 century, Chandragupta I was a son of Ghatotkacha, the first independent king of the Gupta dynasty. He was a more powerful ruler than his two predecessors. While his two ancestors were given to each of title Maharaja Chandragupta I. His describes is the inscription of Maharaja Emperor. He is thus taken to the founder of the Gupta Empire. The foundation of Gupta era commenced on 26th February 320 century. The important event of the region was marriage with Kumara Devi, a Likkala Devi princess, which enhanced his power and prestige. The marriage was commenced on coins issued during his region. Numismatists styled these coins are Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of coins. They have a figures and names of kings and queens above the observers.
Okay, Dasharath, concluded.
Conclude, sir. Conclusion is the Mauryan and Gupta period are seen as the height of early Indian civilizations, mainly due to the fact that they were ruled by Indian ruler. Their position proceeding and directly after the Dark Ages serves to highlight this point due to the foreign invasion. However, also believe it is not correct to extend the term of Dark Ages further behind dealing with the rulers in his period. However, despite of the cultural signification of the Dark Ages, the lack of an Indian rulers means that the Gupta and Mauryan empires will always be seen as the height of early Indian civilization, as India was unified under a domestic ruler. Okay.
Okay, right. Can you give me one or two reasons why we call as the Gupta age as a golden age?
Sir, he coins issued, he issued the coins and he maintained poets Navaratnas, and he was a great bravery. Samudragupta was a bravery man, sir. He expanded the dynasty all over India, North India.
Okay, Dasharath, good. Okay, so thank Next, Sai Sumant, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sumant. Yes, Sai Sumant.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Sai Sumant, please start your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sai Sumant, and my title is about Indus Valley Civilization. Introduction. In 1921, the archaeologists under R.D. Hiram Sahani unearthed the ruins of the city of Harappa, situated on the barrio of the river Ravi in West Punjab. Now it is in Pakistan. As Harappa was the first site that was excavated in, came to be known as the Harappan civilization. In 1922-23, the excavations under Rakil Das Banerjee of the Archaeological Department led to the city of Mohenjo-daro, located in the Larkana district of Sindhu, now Pakistan. When further excavations were carried out, similar remains were discovered at Chanhudaro in Sindh, Lothal in Gujarat, Kalibangan in northern, Rupar in Punjab, Alamgir in UP, and Banwali in Haryana. Unfortunately, there is no written record about the Indus Valley civilization. Many scholars suggested that it belonged to the period between 350 BC to 2750 BC. The special features and important sites of the Indus Valley civilization. First, Mohenjo-daro. It is the largest site of all the Indus Valley civilization. Has all the above mentioned common features. Its population has been estimated to have been under 41,000 and 2 or 35,000. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro is the most important public place, measuring 39 feet length, 23 feet depth, located at the center of the citadel. It is remarkable for the beauty of brickwork. The great granary found here, it is the largest building measuring 150 feet length, 50 feet breadth. It is located within the citadel and next to the Great Bath. The second important site is Harappa. It was the first Indus site to be discovered and excavated in 1921. The Indus Valley civilization was originally called Harappan civilization. The vast mounds at Harappa were first reported by Manson in 1826 and visited by Lord Cunningham in 1853 and 1873. The great granaries are located outside the citadel, but immediately next to it in the west. They are a series of brick platforms forming the basis of 2 rows of 6 granaries, each measuring 50 into 20 feet. Another important site is Chanhudaro. It was the only Indus site without a citadel. Like Mohenjo-daro, it was also flooded more than once. A small part was discovered here, which was probably an ink pot, but there is no proof. Another important site is Lothal. It was the only Indus site with an artificial brick dockyard. It must have served as a main seaport to the Indus people. It was nearly rectangular with the longer axis running from north to south. It was surrounded by a massive brick wall. Coming to the point, town planning and structure. The Harappan culture was distinguished by Mohenjo-daro. Each had its own citadel or its system of town planning. Harappa, which was possibly occupied by the members of ruling class. Below the citadel in each city lay a lower town containing brick houses, which were inhabited by the common people. The remarkable thing about the arrangement of the houses, which were inhabited by the following the grid system. The most important public place of Mohenjo-daro seems to be the Great Bath, compressing the tank which is situated in the citadel mound. They also domesticated animals. They also practiced agriculture. Animals were kept on a large scale. Ox, buffaloes, goats, sheep, and pigs were domesticated. Coming to technology and crafts, the Harappan culture belongs to the Bronze Age. The people of Harappa used many tools and implements of stone, but they were very well acquainted with the manufacture and use of bronze. Bronze was made by the smiths by mixing tin with copper, since none of the metals were easily available to the Harappans. They produced not only images and and utensils, but also various tools and weapons such as axes, saws, knives, and spells. Several other important crafts flourished in the Harappan towns. A piece of woolen cloth cotton has been recovered from Mohenjo-daro. Coming to a trade, the Harappan cities did not possess the necessary raw material for the commodities they produced. And we have no idea about their currency. Most probably they carried on all exchanges through barter system in return for finished goods and possibly food gains. They procured metals from the neighboring areas by boats and bullock carts. They practiced navigation on the coast of the Arabian Sea. They knew the use of wheel and carts with solid wheels were used in Harappa. It also appears that the Harappans used some kind of modern eka. Coming to the religious practices, the terracotta figures of women has been found in one figure. A plant is shown growing out. Probably the image represents the goddess of earth. It was intimately connected with origin and growth of plants. The Harappan therefore looked upon the earth as fertility goddess and worship her in the same manner as the Egyptians worship her in the same manner. Some Vedic texts show the reverence to the earth goddess, although she is.
Sumant, please conclude.
Okay. Thus, the available data suggests that instead of coming to an abrupt end, the Indus Valley civilization merged to the main flow of the Indian cultural development. There is a clear movement of the Harappans from Indo-Gangetic divide to the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab regions. There were also suggestions of the branching out in directions of Malwa and Maharashtra from Gujarat. However, the form with which the Indus Valley civilization merged in the latter pattern of Neolithic, Chalcolithic growth in Indian India was not in its urban forms.
Okay. Sumant, can you give me any one or two text which you referred?
Text I referred old NCERT, sir. R.S. Sharma, Ram Sharan Sharma.
Okay.
Old NCERT.
And
A.A. McDonald. Vedic Index of Names and Subjects.
Okay. Is there any other?
Oh, sir, these two.
Yeah. Okay. So finally, I have one question regarding the Indus Valley civilization. Can you give me one or two points about the Indus Valley script?
Script. There were no script.
Yeah, there is a script. There is a script. You find various signboards.
Yes, and they wrote left to right and right to left.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. Just give me one or two points. What you know about the Indus Valley script?
About script, sir. I have an idea about they wrote from right to left to right. That's and they use rocks.
Okay, because we have many evidences regarding the Indus Valley script, particularly certain signboards we find at Dholavira and Rakigari, both who are the recently executed sites. And you have the evidence of certain like the artifacts like the ink pot and one of the press-like structure to write certain things were used particularly during the time of Indus Valley. Okay, so these are certain evidences we have, and still we are not yet deciphered the Indus Valley script. Many researches are going on, and certain historians, basically like I. Mahadevan, who still working on the decipherment of the Indus Valley script also, right? Okay, so thank you, Sumant. Good. And next, after Sai Sumant, Raju Naik.
Sir.
Raju Naik. Yeah, continue. Start your presentation.
So good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is V. Raju Nayak, roll number 034. My seminar topic is the Sangam age. Now I am going to introduction part. The period between the 3rd century BC and 3rd century AD in South India, the area lying to the south of river Krishna and Tungabhadra is known as Sangam period. Sangam literature major source given details about Sangam age. The Sangam literature includes Tolkappiyam, Ittu Togai, and two epics named Silappatikaram and Manimegalai. Tolkappiyam was written by Tolkappiyar and is considered the earliest of Tamil literary works. Though it is a work on Tamil grammar, but it also provides insights on the political and socio-economic conditions of the time. The two epics, Silappatikaram is written by Idango Adigal and Manimegalai by Sitlai Satanath. They also provide valuable details about the Sangam society and polity. Other sources that given details about Sangam period are the Greek authors like Megasthenes, Strabo, and Pliny mention about commercial trade contacts between the West and South India. The Ashokan inscription mentioned about the Chera, Chola, and Pandya ruled the south of Mauryan Empire. Hathigumpa inscription of Karavela of Kalinga also has mention of Tamil kingdoms. I will give some information about the Tamil literature, or it's called Sangam literature. The earliest time Tamil literature which was organized by the three Tamil dynasties is known as Sangam literature. The three Tamil poetic academies or gatherings organized at Madurai, the capital city of Pandyas, are called Sangam. Several Tamil poets from the Chola, Pandya, and Chera kingdoms attended these Sangams and produced most significant Tamil literature. There are three Sangams happened. The one is Talai Sangam, second one is Idai Sangam, and third one is Kadai Sangam. So, Talai Sangam, it was the first Sangam and is believed to mythological as it was attended by gods and sages. It was presided by Sage Agastya, who was earliest to bring a Aryan culture to the south. The literary work of the Talai Sangam are not available. Next, second Sangam is Idai Sangam, organized by 12 disciples of Sage Agastya. Tolkappiyam written by Tolkappiyar in this Sangam. It is the earliest available literary work on Tamil grammar. Agatyam written by Agatyar is another work on Tamil grammar. Next, Kadai Sangam. It was the third and last Sangam which was presided over by Tamil poet Nakirar. In this Sangam, massive Tamil literature was produced which was revolved to the Vedic literature of the Aryans. Some political information of the Sangam period I have given from Indian History Academic book. South India during the Sangam age was ruled by three dynasties, the Cheras, Cholas, and Pandyas. The main source of information about these kingdoms is traced from the literary references of Sangam period. Cholas. The Cholas controlled the central and northern part of Tamil Nadu. Their core area of rule was the Kaveri Delta, later known as Cholamandalam. Their capital was Urayuru near Tiruchinappalli town, and Puhar of Kavaripatnam was an alternative royal residence and chief port town. Tiger was their emblem. The Cholas also maintained a efficient navy. King Karavela was a famous king of the Sangam Cholas. Next, Cheras. The Cheras controlled the central and northern part of Kerala and the Kungu region of Tamil Nadu. Vajri was their capital, and the fort of the west coast, Mussoorie and Tondi were under their control. The emblem of Cheras was bow and arrow. The greatest ruler of Cheras was Senguttavan. Pandyas ruled from Madurai. Their emblem was the fish. Sangam society was Tolkapiam refers to the few divisions of land, Kurunji, like hilly tracts, Mulai, postal, and Muduram, agricultural lands, and this some information given Sangam Tolkapiam has and Sangam society has a political position of women during Sangam age. A lot of information is available in the Sangam literature to understand the position of women during the Sangam age. Women had respect and were allowed intellectual pursuits. There were women poets like Avayar and who flourished and contributed the Tamil literature. And the end
Okay,
part
Rajan,
of
I
Sangam.
conclude it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. The end part of Sangam age, the Sangam period slowly witnessed its decline towards the end of the 3rd century AD. The Kalabras occupied the Tamil country. Post Sangam period between 300 AD to 600 AD worshipped period was called Dark Age by earliest historians. This is all about Sangam age. Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, right. Raju Naik, you presented a somewhat neat things and different with other topics also. Okay, so Sangam is one of the age you will see in the southern part where the three most important dynasties, Chera, Chora, Pandyas, the combination. And just give me during the time of the Sangam age, the two epics of Tamil which composed.
Yes, sir. One
Right.
is Silapadikaram
And Manmegalai. Can you give me the main themes of Silpadikaram and
sir? Sir. So Silapadikaram is written by Idango Adigal and it's also provide valuable details about Sangam society and polity, sir.
Silpadikaram about Sangam society?
Sir?
Silpadikaram gives about Sangam society and polity?
Yes, sir, about details about Sangam society and polity.
Okay, particularly about which regarding the Sangam society?
Sangam society like position of women during the Sangam age and their land forms and here their full and division of land comes regarding they provide the information about Silapadikaram and Manmegalai, sir.
Okay, Raju Naik, Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Next one, Asna Fatima.
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Yeah. Asna Fatima, please start your presentation.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you see? Hello?
Yeah.
So, my name is Asna Fatima. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. And today I'm going to present about the Ashoka the Great. And here, in this topic, I'm going to discuss about the Mauryan Empire, a sneak peek about into the Mauryan Empire and why the Emperor Ashoka is known as the Great. And I'm going to examine about the literary and archaeological sources and to what extent they give us idea about the greatness of Ashoka. So majorly in my presentation, I'm going to discuss about the greatness of Ashoka, why he is called as great emperor in the history of India. So background of the Ashoka is the Mauryan dynasty. He belongs to a Mauryan dynasty. The Mauryan dynasty was founded by Chandragupta Maurya around 321 BCE with the help of Kautilya. And Chandragupta Maurya was succeeded by Bindusara. And Bindusara's reign in the history of India is majorly linked with the Greek princes, his relation with the Greeks. And Bindusara was succeeded by Ashoka the Great. So, why Ashoka is known as the one of the greatest emperor in the history of India? The evidence of the greatness of Ashoka is provided in the literary and archaeological sources. Literary sources that provide us about the Ashoka is Ashoka Vadana. They are the Buddhist text. Mahavamsa is also a Buddhist text, and Dipavamsa is also a Buddhist text. And archaeological sources are rock edicts, pillar edicts, cave inscriptions. So, what literary sources tell us about Ashoka? The Ashoka Vadana states that Ashoka's mother was a queen named Shubhadrangi, daughter of Brahmana of Champa. During his father's reign, Ashoka was stationed as governor at Ujjain. According to the Divyananda, Bindusara wanted his son Susima to succeed him, but Ashoka was supported by his father's minister named Radhagupta. Dipavamsa and Mahavamsa refers Ashoka killing 99 brothers. Only one named Tissa was spared by Ashoka. Buddhist texts present Ashoka as a vile and evil man until he came under the influence of Buddha's Dhamma. And what are the limitations of this literary sources? According to John S. Strong, he is a religious studies scholar. He tells us that the author of the ancient Buddhist text reworked the old legends and traditions, some of which had till then circulated in oral forms. Their aim was to confirm the faith of the faithful and to win the new adherent to the Buddhist fold. These were their major idea. And the legends aimed at conveying certain important ideas like nature of suffering and how to overcome it. So here we can see that literary sources provided only a limited knowledge of Ashoka, and majorly they focused on the early life of Ashoka. And next is archaeological sources. What archaeological sources tell us about the Ashoka? So archaeological sources are the major rock edicts. The major rock edicts can be found at Kandahar, Shehbazgiri, Mansehra, Kalsi, Girnar, Dholi, Jogada, Irragaddi. And pillar edicts also tell us about Ashoka. Pillar edicts can be found at same Kandahar, Delhi, Allahabad, Lauria, Rampurva. And next is minor rock edicts. Bahapur, Beirat, Rupnath, Maski, Brahmagiri. So These are the archaeological sources that tell us about the Ashoka. About the inscriptions. Most of the inscriptions are in Prakrit language and Brahmi script, and some belong to Prakrit language and Kharosti script. Ashoka edited his inscription in Brahmi script, and they belong to Prakrit language and also Kharosti script. And what makes Ashoka's edict unique is that, unlike royal inscriptions of later times, the rulers which came after Ashoka's rule, they follow a conventional pattern and phraseology. Ashoka's inscription reveal the voice and ideas of king. And Ashoka's inscription mostly contain explanation of Dhamma and the king's effort to propagate it. And some important edicts that explicitly describes about the greatness of Ashoka are Major Rock Edict 6. Kings in that edict, Ashoka desire is expressed. He tells that king desire to know about the people's condition, about welfare measures. And Major Rock Edict 7. In this edict, tolerance towards religion among all sects. And Major Rock Edict 9. In Major Rock Edict 9, Ashoka condemns popular ceremonies like sacrifices and all that, and stresses on the moral conduct for his people. In Major Rock Edict 13, it was issued at the end of the Kalinga War, gives us vivid picture of the change of Ashoka from an aggressive and violent warrior to a great lover of peace. And Pillar Edict 1. It provides the principle of protecting his people. In this Pillar Edict, Ashoka shows his desire to protect his people. And in Pillar Edict 3, responsibility of Rajukas. And in Kalinga Edict, Ashoka mentions all men are my children. So from these edicts, as an example, as a hint, we can conclude that the greatness of Ashoka is proven here. And in conclusion, from the above references, it can be made clear that archaeological sources to a great extent contribute in the study of the reign of the great Ashoka, while literary sources throw light on early life of Ashoka. Ashoka is considered great in the history of India due to his humanitarian policies and his conduct towards his people. And thank you. Yes, sir. My presentation is completed. Sir, I cannot hear your voice.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You used the term the great. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, in what context we use the term the great for the Ashoka, the emperor?
Sir, great is used for Ashoka because of his policies. He adopted a very humanitarian policies. He accepted all religion. He promoted peace, and not only in India but also with the neighboring countries. He wanted peace after the war of Kalinga. So in this way, he is considered great.
Okay. Generally, we use the great only for the two emperors. One is the Akbar the Great and Ashoka the Great. Is there any similarity in between these both two emperors?
Yes, sir, there is a similarity. Akbar, even as same as Ashoka, Akbar also adopted a very friendly policies towards the non-Muslims. Because majorly the people of his kingdom, the people of his empire were non-Muslims. So he abolished the jizya taxes, the tax for pilgrimage of the Hindus. So his policies were in accordance with Ashoka to the extent. So they are both called great.
Yeah, I think these both emperors has the term the great because of they followed certain social welfare like the Ashoka Dhamma, which is one of the part and parcel of Buddhist Dhamma. As a we cannot feel both Dhammas, Buddha. Okay, so some disturbance taken place due to the unstable network. Okay, so thank you, Asna Padma. Um,
Thank you, sir.
and next one is Akin Balamani.
Yes, sir.
Balamani, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can start your presentation.
I am Balamani, రూల్ నంబర్ 036. నా టాపిక్ వచ్చేసి చాళుక్యాస్ ఆఫ్ బాదామి.
మీ వాయిస్ వినిపించట్లేదు బాలమణి, మీ వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు.
ఐ ఎమ్ బాలమణి, రూల్ నంబర్ 036. వినిపిస్తుందా సార్?
ఓకే ఓకే, వినిపిస్తుంది. రైట్.
నా టాపిక్ చాళుక్యాస్ ఆఫ్ బాదామి. Was a classically Indian royal dynasty that ruled by the famous Chalukyan dynasty for around 6th century's Red Rule period has become famous and Chalukyan age in the history of South India. Among them, you relate with Badami Vatapi in Bijapur districts as their capital formed the branch Eastern Chalukyas dynasty, who branched off from the Badami Chalukyas, ruled over Vengi for 4 centuries and throughout the Bikam and the descendants Tanjavur Cholas and ruled Tamil region also for 2 and half centuries. During their ruled South India culture flourished, spending politically but also culturally. The Hindu culture took its birth during period of Ikshvakus and Vishnukundinyas and Chalukyas of Badami period. During their period, ancient Vedanta literature, architecture and ordinates their final shape and reached highest stage. In Badami Chalukyas, the rule of the Chalukyas marks an important milestone in the history of South India and a golden age in the history of Karnataka. The rise of empire saw the birth of efficient administration, overseas trade and commerce, and the development of new style of architecture called Chalukyan architecture. The temples that they have constructed in Karnataka, Gujarati, Maharashtra in temples.
కంప్లీట్ అయిందా?
అయింది సార్. కన్క్లూజన్
ఓకే ఓకే, నో ప్రాబ్లం. ఇక మీరు బుక్స్ ఏమి రిఫర్ చేశారు చెప్పండి.
సార్ నేను అకాడమీ బుక్ మన దగ్గరనే లైబ్రరీలో తీసుకున్నా సార్.
ఓకే
సార్ వి రామకృష్ణ రెడ్డి సార్, డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ హిస్టరీ, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ హైదరాబాద్. ఈ సుధారాణి మేడం, డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ హిస్టరీ, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్
అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ సిటీ స్టడీ మెటీరియల్.
మన దగ్గరనే
లైబ్రరీలో తీసుకున్నాం అనేది కాదు, అవి స్టడీ మెటీరియల్స్ అన్నమాట. ఓకే, సో డిస్టెన్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్కి సంబంధించి స్టడీ మెటీరియల్ ఇస్తుంటాయి. అవి ఆ బుక్స్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ సిటీ బుక్స్ నుంచి మీరు రిఫర్ చేశారు, అంతే కదా? వాటిని కాదు కదా చేయాల్సింది. ఓకే అమ్మా బాలమణి, ఓకే రైట్, థ్యాంక్ యూ. Right. So anyone who absent in the last session and today's session in between, those who missed their presentation, now they had the time to present. Okay. So anyone?
Sir, Anjaneyal sir, B.
Anjaneyal B.
Yes sir, my
ఓకే చెప్పండి ఆంజనేయులు
సార్. ప్రజెంటేషన్ చేయాలా సార్?
చేయండి.
గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ ఆల్ అండ్ సార్. మై రోల్ నెంబర్ ఈస్ 13, studying in MA History, PG College Secunderabad. My topic is Harshavardhana sir. Vardhana dynasty, a great emperor of Harshavardhana. Today my topic, Harshavardhana 592-647 CE, also known as Harshavardhana, was an Indian emperor who ruled North India from 606 to 647 CE. He was a member of the Vardhana dynasty and was the son of the Prabhakara Vardhana, who defeated the Alpon Huna invaders, and the younger brother of Rajavardhana, a king of Kaneshwar, present day Haryana. At the height of Harsha's power, his empire covered of north and northwestern India and south until Narmada river, and eventually made Kanhaus, presently Uttar Pradesh, is capital and ruled till 647 Common Era. Harsha was defeated by the South Indian Emperor Pulakeshin II of the Chalika dynasty, also Badami Chalika. In the battle of Narmada, when Harsha tried to expand his empire into the southern peninsula of India, the peace and prosperity that frequently made his court of cosmopolitanism attract scholars and religious. The Chinese traveler Huyan Stang visited the court of Harsha and wrote very favorable account of him. His biography, Harsha Charitra, written by Sanskrit poet Bana Vatta, describes his association with Staneshwar. Besides maintaining the defense wall, a moat on the place with origins. After downfall of the Gupta Empire in the middle of the 6th century, North India was split into several independent kingdoms. The northern and western regions of India passed into the hands of dozen or more than feudal states. Prabhakara Vardhana ruled Staneshwar, who belongs to the Vardhana family, extended his control over neighboring states. Prabhakara Vardhana was first king of Vardhana dynasty, with his capital at Kaneshwar after Prabhakara death 605. Eldest son Rajavardhana assisted the throne. Harshavardhana was his Rajavardhana and younger brother. Harsha's sister Rajasri had been married to the Maukari king Grahamavarman. This king, some year later, had been defeated and killed by King Devagupta of Malwa. And after his death, Rajasri had cast into prison by the victor. Harsha's brother Rajavardhana, as King Thaneshwar, could not expect this upon his family. So he marched against Devagupta and defeated him. However, Shashanka of called Eastern Bengal. Encouragement. Sir, conclusion. Harshavardhana is Harshavardhana Harshavardhana is called the last great Hindu ruler in Indian thought. He was not a ardent follower the Hinduism. He died in the year 647. After his death, the Vaikuntha come to end is head up here. Evidently, the empire dissolved.
Okay, Anjaneyulu.
Sir.
Just give me one or two books which you refer.
Sir, R.C. Majumdar, Ancient India, sir. K.P. Jaiswal, An Imperial History of India, sir.
Imperial History of India. Publisher ఎవరు? రాయాలి. ఎట్లా రాయాలి కదా, నేను ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పాను మీకు, ఆల్రెడీ ఫార్మాట్ ఇచ్చాను ఎట్లా రాయాలి అని. ఓకే, సో మీరు మధ్య మధ్యలో అక్కడక్కడ ఇయర్ వచ్చినప్పుడు సి అని చదివారు కదా, సి అంటే ఏంటి
సార్?
అక్కడక్కడ మీరు మధ్యలో చదువుతున్నప్పుడు సి అని సి అనే పదం ఉపయోగించారు. ఇయర్ తర్వాత సి అని ఉపయోగించినట్టుగా అనిపించింది. ఓకే, సో ఆంజనేయులు. ఓకే, రైట్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ who want to present?
Sir, Banala Naveen.
Naveen. Right. Start it. Voice వినిపించట్లేదు నవీన్. వాయిస్ రావడం లేదు నవీన్, మీ వాయిస్ వినిపించట్లేదు.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Naveen.
Sir, Rajput Babu. Hello.
చెప్పండి.
Sir, 17 roll number, sir. This is Rajput Babu.
ఓపెన్ చేయండి, మీ వీడియో ఓపెన్ చేయండి.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Topic dynasty.
ఎవరు చెప్తున్నారు? బాబు.
Hello. Hello.
Naveen?
Sir, Babu sir.
Wait. Naveen is present.
Sir.
Sir. Okay, Naveen, మీరు చెప్పండి.
My name is Panal Naveen, rule number 8.
Okay.
Seminar paper title Jainism, History, Philosophy and Traditions. History of Jain Dharma. The Jain Dharma or Jainism are one of the oldest religion of the world. According to Dr. K.C. Sogani, it represents the continuation of indigenous gods, though the archaeological evidence takes shamanism for back to the Armala civilization, which is regarded as non-Vedic in origin and outlook. In the Jain canonical text, in the adjective Arhat is appended with Lord Rishbha. The religions propounded by Arhat is known as Arhat Dharma. Padma Purana, Matsya Purana, Shiva Purana, etc. We find continued to the wing till Lord Prashanvanath. Lord Mahavira was more popularly known as Sharman Bhagavan. During the time Mahavira, the one of the Nigranth Pravachana was young in the Jain religion. In the period of Mahavira, for 2 countries after Emperor Nigrantha Pravachana remained. Jain ethics and literature, sir. Non-violence. The Jain have laid great emphasis Ahimsa Vrata. The doctrine of Ahimsa, non-violence, is cardinal principle of the Jain religion. It is also central Jain faith. It is maybe in the Jain religion. The first and foremost principle of the Jain philosophy is non-violence. Non-violence means being kill on hurt and living being by the body, speech or mind. It is possible only for this person who dedicates the whole life. One of the basic Mahavira dedicates the whole life their most good. Jain philosophy. The Jain system, like the Buddhist, is non-theist. It does not acknowledge the existence of creator, of the God. Another important feature is it is the pluralistic system. The soul or man infinite in the number moksha is the approachable into the supreme adornment of perfect. That's all. Is the opinion and the literature of Jainism, the West End period, is a subject of matter including the only necessary culture. Cosmology literature known as Agamanas includes a large number of texts. There are divided into the 2 classes: Agamanas on the original 12 books on the Agamanas on the text outside the original 12 books. Okay, sir. Sir, complete.
నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందా?
వినిపిస్తుందా సార్?
నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందా?
వినిపిస్తుంది సార్.
యా, ఓకే. సో జనరల్గా జైనిజం టీచింగ్స్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు, సో బుద్ధిజం కంటే కూడా ఏదైతే నాన్ వైలెన్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే ఇంకా ట్రూత్ సంబంధించినటువంటి అంశాల్లో కొంచెం నాన్ వైలెన్స్ విషయానికి వచ్చేసరికి బాగా ఎక్స్ట్రీమ్ లెవెల్లో ఉంటుంది అనేటటువంటిది మనకి జైనిజం గురించి తెలిసినటువంటిది. సో అలాంటి సందర్భంలో అంటే జైనిజం బుద్ధిజం అనేటటువంటి ఒకే టైంలో మొదలైనవి, ఒకే కాలంలో ఆవిర్భవించినాయి. కానీ బుద్ధిజం కంటే కూడా అంటే బుద్ధిజం కాలేకపోయింది.
సార్ వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది. సార్
ఓకే నవీన్
సార్ చెప్పండి.
రైట్. ఓకే, సో ఇది కొంచెం ఫ్లక్చుయేషన్ ఉంది, మన నెట్ కనెక్షన్ కొంచెం క్లారిటీ లేదు. ఓకే రైట్, థ్యాంక్ యూ నవీన్.
ఓకే సార్.
రాజ్పూడి బాబు.
ఓకే నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకెవరు ప్రజెంట్ చేస్తారు? బాబు
సార్. బాబు సార్, రాజ్పూడి బాబు.
బాబు స్టార్ట్ చేయండి
సార్. ఓకే సార్. గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ సార్. గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ ఫ్రెండ్స్. This is Rajput Babu. Let us discuss about Kakatiya dynasty. Okay, introduction.
What's your roll number?
17 sir.
Roll number?
17.
Okay. Title?
Kakatiya dynasty sir.
Okay, start there.
Okay. Kakatiya ruled mainly Telugu region. Kakatiya rulers came to fresh mind and heart of the Andhra Jati. They worshipped the goddess of Kakati. Therefore, the family of called Kakatiyas. The Kakatiyas also worshipped of Swayambhuva. Swayambhuva means Shiva, Lord Shiva. Establishment of Kakatiya dynasty, Kakatiya kingdom. During the 10th century, they were the subordinates of Rashtrakuts. After that, defeat of Rashtrakuts powered by Western Chalukyas. Chalukyas become their feudatories of Kalyani Chalukyas. Mainly 1 to 6 Kakatiya rulers, first 1 to 6 rulers. They are the subordinates of Kalyani Chalukyas. First one Bhojaraja is the founder of dynasty, and he ruled as feudatory chief of Western Chalukyas, and he set up capital at Koravisa, and his son Polraju I. His titles are Kakatiya titles of Bhojaraj I, Kakati Puradani Nata, Chodakshma Pala, and next one Polraj II sir. Polraj I is the feudatory of Kalyani Chalukyas sir, and he is the follower of Shiva, and he built a Kesari Katakam. Is built as his titles Kakati Vallabha Harigaja Kesari, and Samadrikata Panchami Shabda. And after that, after becoming the ruler is Betaraju too. He is also ruled as a feudatory of Kalyani Chalukyas. Is built enormous tanks at Hanmakonda. His titles Vikrama Chakra, Palamardiganda, Tribhavana Malla, and Mahamandaleshwara. Next one ruled by Prola Raja II. He is also feudatory of Kalyan Chalukyas. He's built Siddheshwara temple, Ramappa temple, and Vorgalu port. His son, he has 5 sons, sir. 5 sons, Rudradeva, Mahadeva, Harihara Deva, and Ganpati Deva, and Durgaraj. Is next one Rudradeva, sir. Rudradeva. He is the last feudatory of Kalyani Chalukyas, and he is the first independent and sovereign ruler of Kakatiya dynasty, sir. He was supported of art and architecture, and he authored the Niti Sara in Sanskrit. His titles Vidya Bhushana and Rai Gajakeshari. Next one, after ruled by Mahadeva, he is the brother of Rudradeva. He is only 4 years only ruled the ruled kingdom, sir. And his wife Bayamba. He was he has one son, is Ganpati Deva, and he has 2 daughters, Mailamba and Gunapamba. And Jaituki killed by Mahadeva, sir. Next ruled by Ganpati Deva. He was the greatest among all the rulers of his family. And Singana released Ganpati Deva from jail, sir. Singana, Telugu Raya, Stapanacharya, and Ganpati Deva ruled 63 years, sir.
Okay, Babu, conclude it.
Okay, sir. Kakatiya dynasty was one of the most powerful and long-living dynasty in South India, sir. Kakatiyas by support arts and their integrative quality and improved agriculture, commerce and trade, and interior and construction of temples in Telangana and Andhra. However, in 13th century, faced many inventions, several inventions. So, but Delhi Sultanates and eventually came to an end of end in 1323. 33, and Juna Khan defeated by Prolraj too, sir.
ఓకే బాబు, మీరు ఎక్కడి నుంచి రాశారు ఇది?
సార్ పరబ్రహ్మ శాస్త్రి, సార్. పరబ్రహ్మ శాస్త్రి, వరంగల్, ద కాకతీయాస్ ఆఫ్ వరంగల్, అండ్ గోపాల కృష్ణమూర్తి, ద స్కల్ప్చర్ ఆఫ్ అన్ కాకతీయ, సార్.
పివిపి శాస్త్రి బుక్ అది ఎవరు పబ్లిష్ చేశారు? కాకతీయాస్ ఆఫ్ వరంగల్ ఉంది కదా బుక్, పివిపి శాస్త్రి, పరబ్రహ్మ శాస్త్రి.
పరబ్రహ్మ శాస్త్రి ఎస్ సార్.
సరే, ఆ బుక్ ఎవరు పబ్లిష్ చేశారు? పబ్లిషర్ ఎవరు?
బుక్ పైన పబ్లిషర్ అనే ఉంది సార్, పరబ్రహ్మ శాస్త్రి అనే ఉంది సార్.
అవును, ఆయన ఆథరు. ఆయనే ప్రింట్ చేసుకున్నాడా ఇంట్లోనే? దాన్ని ఎవరో ఒక ప్రింట్ చేయాలి కదా. ఎవరు ప్రింట్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు, పబ్లిష్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు?
క్లారిటీ లేదు సార్ దానిపైన.
ఎట్లా చెప్పండి, క్లారిటీ లేకపోతే?
పీడిఎఫ్
మీరన్నీ ఏదో
నెట్లో డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తాను.
లేదు, మీరు నెట్లో చదివినట్టు.
పీడిఎఫ్ లాగా.
సరే సరే, ఓకే బాబు, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ ప్రజెంట్ చేస్తారు. Okay, students, no more day for this seminar because no time again to conduct this one, because we have to submit on or before 18th. The marks we have to submit on or before 18th. So finally we are concluded with 25 candidates. Okay, so out of 36, 25 has presented their seminar, and nearly 11 candidates are absent. Okay, so this consider as the absent, and no more exclusion or no more excuse or no more opportunity or any chance for those absentees, because we already given the lot of time, and we already conducted in these seminars in 2 days. Okay, so those treated as the absent, right?
ఉషా వాళ్ళ మామయ్య చనిపోయాడు సార్, అందుకనే అటెండ్ కాలేదు. రూల్ నెంబర్ 20.
ఏదైనా కావచ్చు, నాకు సంబంధం లేదు. మీరు ప్రజెంట్ అయ్యారా లేదా, సో మనం దీనికి చెప్పడానికి ఏం లేదు. We will send those who are not presented as the absentees, right? So thank you very much, and no more seminar presentations for this semester 1, and your second semester will start on 16th onwards, 16th August onwards, and the timetable which already in the almanac for your external exams of Sem 1 may be postponed to the December, I think. Okay, so this will not conduct accordingly the tentative timetable. Okay, so you find certain changes, because your second semester will start from 16th August, that is the Monday onwards, right? Students, thank you for your cooperation for
sir. Offline class eppudu sir?
Seminar presentations. Offline classes ippatlo levu. Maybe second semester kuda ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ తోనే మొదలవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో మండే నుంచి ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసులు జరుగుతాయి, స్టార్ట్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే, సో ఆఫ్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ సంబంధించి ఎలాంటి ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ లేదు మాకైతే. సో ఆల్మనాక్ కూడా ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ కనే ఆల్మనాక్ కూడా వాళ్ళు రిలీజ్ చేశారు.
అంటే నెక్స్ట్ మంత్ ఫస్ట్ నుంచి ఓపెన్ చేస్తామని ఇందాక ఏదో న్యూస్లో ఇచ్చారు సార్, ఏమైనా ఛాన్స్ ఉందా?
ఇక మాకు తెలియదు. మాకైతే ఆల్మనాక్ ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ అనే మెన్షన్ చేశారు ఆల్మనాక్లో. సో యాజ్ యూజువల్గా ఆల్మనాక్ ప్రకారం మేము ఏదైతే మీ సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్ 16th నుంచి అంటే మండే నుంచి మళ్ళీ ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసులే మొదలు. సో ఏమైనా ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ వస్తే హాస్టల్స్ ఓపెన్ చేసే అవకాశం ఉంటే అప్పుడు ఆఫ్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే స్టూడెంట్స్, థ్యాంక్ యూ. I am ending my session now.